And welcome to the Bulloch Sports Report. I'm Josh Aubrey. Plenty to get to in this week's show. The Georgia Southern Eagle football team getting ready to try and rebound after a disappointing 28-20 loss at the hands of Troy this past Saturday at Paulson Stadium. This week, the Eagles on the road as they'll be taking on the 5-5 Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina on the road in Conway, South Carolina. The Eagles still with a chance at making it to the Sun Belt Championship game. Speaking of championships, how about the Bulloch Academy Gators? They were able to knock off Brookstone this past Friday night at Gator Alley by a score of 20-14, which put them into the state title game for the first time since they won it all back in 1997. They'll take on First Presbyterian Day at 8 o'clock at Paulson Stadium Saturday night. We'll hear from Aaron Phillips and a few of his players as the Gators get ready for the state championship game. As for the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets, they came away with a nice victory in the opening round all the way up in Heritage and Ringgold, and this week a little closer to home they'll be able to go up to the Augusta area where they'll be taking on the number 1 seed Harlem, and that game taking place Friday night at 7:30. We'll hear from Jared Zito and a few of his players in just a bit. We'll also send you over to some of the final games at Hanner Fieldhouse. The Georgia Southern women undefeated knocked off Longwood this past week. We'll show you some highlights from there. And one final note, in the high school ranks, the Southeast Bulloch flag football team captured the area championship for the 4th straight year. Unfortunately, right after that game, they played Calvary Day and they lost, being shut out for the first time in school history. Their winning streak is snapped at 77 games. They'll be hosting in the state playoffs coming up in a couple of weeks. Plenty more to come on the Bulloch Sports Report. And a reminder before we go to break, hopefully you'll never be in an accident, but if so, please give our friends at the Sullivan Law Firm a call, 912-489-8888, or online at thesullivanlawfirm.com. Stop by Bubba Golf on Northside Drive behind Remax Eagle Creek Realty today for all your golf needs. They have everything you need to dominate the course and to stand out in golf fashion as well, featuring top brands in golf apparel to the latest and most trusted golf clubs used by the pros. Bubba Golf also has a TrackMan simulator to fine-tune your swing like never before. Or bring your friends and enjoy a round of golf at one of their many courses to choose from. Need golf club repairs? Bubba's got you covered. Swing by today and see why Bubba Golf is your one stop for all things golf. Northside Drive behind Remax Eagle Creek Realty. Well, the Georgia Southern Eagles with a disappointing loss this past Saturday night at Paulson Stadium, rare place to lose, and to a team that came in with only a record of 2-7, the Troy Trojans. Troy getting it done when they needed to on third down, 11-14. The Eagles, unfortunately, struggled in the third downs. They were 3 of 8 on third downs on offense and then struggled to get Troy off the field. We had a chance to talk with head coach Clay Helton about that, as well as the upcoming matchup and their playoff hopes still alive as they will be on the road at Coastal Carolina.
Coming into it was a little bit nervous, shift of philosophy by Troy and their ball control offense. I thought it did a really good job. I thought we did a nice job on first and second down efficiency. Our goal was to try to hold them. If they had 40-plus carries to 150 yards or less, they had 41 carries, 153 yards, which was 4 yards or less. Where we really needed to be more efficient was in the third downs. I thought Caldwell did a really nice job of continuing drives with their playmakers going 11-14 and really keeping our offense off the field. They did the things that good ball control offenses do. They were able to make their third downs. They didn't turn the ball over where we felt like we needed to steal a possession, either defensively or special teams wise, and they played great special teams that day, really didn't hurt themselves. And that limits your drive possessions. We had 8 total, 4 in each half, score on half of them with 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals, and needed them to be all touchdowns. You know what I've always appreciated about our kids? They walk into every game with that mindset. that it's must win. And they've always taken that approach that they're going to do whatever it takes to win the game. They did the other night. They played unbelievably with great heart, and really fought their butts off in a very close battle, against a team that's really hitting their stride and finding their identity. And they made a couple more plays than us. So I love the mindset of our kids. I always have. I believe that they do a tremendous job of turning the page and going the next one. This is a huge, important game for us. We know that. We get that because we see the standings. It's Marshall, it's us, it's JMU. We all got important games. And, Marshall's on the road against ODU, which is a good team, on the road versus JMU. We've got two of our battles too of their own, and JMU's hoping for a little luck themselves. So we're all fighting like heck. The good news is that's where you want to be. There's a lot of teams. There's probably 3/4 of the team across the country that don't have this opportunity. We're one of the teams that do. So I'm more a glass half full guy, and so I prefer to see it as an opportunity rather than, gosh, we're not in it. Obviously, with Coach Beck, has done a tremendous job offensively throughout his career. You could see the balance of their offense really taking shape, rushing for 170 yards a game, mixing in. I think Ethan's doing a really nice job at quarterback of mixing that balance, getting it to playmakers. And defensively, I've known Coach Sniver for years. He worked for me at USC, good friend, ultra-aggressive play caller, does a really nice job. So we got a huge challenge. You got three teams right now really battling for that first place spot in Marshall and us and in JMU, and these next two games are ultra critical.
Well, after the game, many people took to social media to vent their frustrations from the game. Unfortunately, one of those was Eagle defensive lineman Isaac Walker, who is no longer with the team. That was confirmed by Coach Helton at the press conference. As for the Eagle players, they're frustrated by the loss as well, and they talked about having to try to block out some of the noise after tough losses.
We accept it. We're expected to win here at Georgia Southern. Like Coach Bailey always says, that if you play at Georgia Southern, you're expected to win. So, the way the fans feel, we feel the same way. We expect to win, and we're doing whatever we can to win each and every week. We come in here and we bust our butts every week. So, nothing's going to change the way we prep. We're going to come to work every day and go hard and, hopefully get a win next week. I watched their receivers a little bit, number 0, number 17, good players, bigger bodies. They're on a little bit different challenge for us on the outside. We've faced some smaller receivers the past couple of weeks, so the bigger body is going to be a little bit different of a challenge, but I think we'll be ready for it.
I mean, it definitely hurts to hear that kind of stuff because at the end of the day, we want you guys to support us. We want them to love us like we love them. I love the fans. I love the interaction with the fans. This environment is like none other, and nobody. This is special. Like you said, Georgia State, we didn't have many of this, but so this place is special. But yes, it definitely brings us closer, puts a chip on our shoulder, makes us want to work harder, and it gives us something to look forward to. That hey, next week we win. It's not going to be like that. I think we just have to get back up and get on our horse and go play our game. We can't get too down, can't get too high, and you can't get discouraged. You got to go play football, and that's what we're supposed to do. And as a big men, we're supposed to lead the way, and we got to get them to come along, and we got to pull them ahead. That's our job. At the end of the day, it falls back on us, and we have to be better because that's what we're supposed to be special at, and that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to be more successful than we're not successful, and that's a fact. So.
Well, as for the Georgia Southern men's and women's basketball teams, the Lady Eagles in action this week as the countdown to the final days at Hanner continues. Now it's down to 2. The Eagles with a big victory. Let's send you out for some of the highlights. The Georgia Southern women in action hosting Longwood, first half action, and it's Jasmine Jackson burying the 3 from the corner. The Eagles turning up the defense. India Green to steal. She makes the nice bounce pass to Jackson for 2 more of her 12 points. A little bit later, Nicole Gwynn just inside the 3-point line, pulling up for the long 2. She finished with a game-high 20. The Eagles later hitting the boards. Gwynn the outlet pass. And Bucky Akinsola goes in for the layup, taking this one in herself. The Eagles in command, more in transition. A nice shot here just before the buzzer by Gwynn. That would send the Eagles to the locker room with a 37-24 lead. In the second half, Longwood makes a run in third quarter. The Eagles trying to come back. And from long distance, this time Gwynn with the 3. Later, it's Akinsola driving in for 2 more of her 8 points. Going to her left nicely. Akinsola then showing some nice moves on the right side, driving in for the basket. 2 more of her 8. And then the steal from behind by Nakia Mays-Prince. She gets the ball ahead. Paris Gaines with the easy 2. She'd have 15 points. More from Gaines here off the pass in the paint, the hoop, and the foul as the Eagles go on to win 68-64. So the women 4-0 on the season. The guys are 4-2. Georgia Southern men back in Hanner Fieldhouse coming up Saturday at noon. All right, stay with us. High school previews coming up next.
This is Paul Newman with Statesboro Real Estate. Have you been on the sidelines? Well, now's the time to list your house. Let's GATA and get after those assets.
Well, the Statesboro Blue Devils season has come to a close. We had a chance to talk with head coach Matt Dobson about how the season went and his feelings about moving forward into next year.
Yeah, I think there was ups and downs, probably like you would expect with a young football team. Definitely some exciting moments. The encouraging part for me is that we were in, every ball game with the exception of the Brunswick game. In the second half, having a shot to at least win all those football games, and so excited about the future. And definitely some young guys this year who made tremendous impact for our football team that are going to be key for us moving forward.
Yeah, where do you feel like you have the best strengths coming back for next season?
Yeah, I think offensively, from a passing game perspective, we feel really good with our quarterback back, 4 receivers, and plus 2 tight ends all being back. So we've got, we got 5 guys on our team that caught more than 10 passes this year. And so a lot of production at the receiver spots and then at the tight end spot. And obviously with the quarterback, we had, completed 62% of our passes this year for close to, I think, just over 1,700 yards. We got a freshman quarterback who led the state in passing for freshmen. So excited about him and his future here with Beckham. And then defensively, we got some defensive linemen back. It all starts in the trenches. So got a lot of guys back there, and then basically our whole secondary is returning as well. And so a lot of production back on both sides of the football, and a lot of guys who just like to work. And so excited about that.
The culture you're trying to build here, do you see it advancing? Yeah,
for sure. I think this upcoming senior class, they were freshmen when I first got here, and they've really, this is kind of what they've known, what we're trying to do, the way we practiced, our core values of belt. They kind of understand that, and that's what they're about. And so, it's going to be the first senior class that has got good numbers that I've had. We've had two kind of smaller senior classes. And so this is kind of the first senior class that's got good numbers. And then we got good production on both sides of the football and good production at the skill kids as well as the lineman group. And so really excited about this group. We got a lot of good leaders, from our seniors, but then some younger guys, the Davis Harrisons, Chandler Tysons, Beckham Gerards, some good leaders in the younger grades too. And a lot of talent in the younger grades. So feel like this next season is going to be the most complete football team we've had, and then just the best understanding of what we are as a football program.
The Bulloch County Farm Bureau on Northside Drive is a multi-line insurance agent writing farm, auto, homeowners, life, health insurance, and more. Nick Sherrod and the other 5 local agents are on standby for your convenience for in-depth insurance review. And while you're there, check out the products from local farmers. Located at 940 Northside Drive, stop by and see them today. Well, for the Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets, a big victory in the first round against Heritage. It was only a few years ago 2021 to be exact, when the Yellow Jackets snapped a nearly 50-year drought of winning a state playoff game. Now they've won one. They're looking to make it two. This week is Friday night. They'll be hitting the road for Harlem. We had a chance to talk with head coach Jared Zito and a couple of the players about how they're playing and the goals for winning in the second round.
One going to Augusta, so that's better on us in terms of planning. It's just basically like a regular game and just leave a little earlier kind of thing, which is good for kids and their routine. But also I think it's going to give us a better opportunity for our fans and students to potentially go to that game. I think it will be really exciting. I think they're a solid team. They don't seem to have a whole lot of weaknesses. Kids play well. They don't hurt themselves. I think it's a good matchup. I think it's going to be a really good football game. But the team that makes the least mistakes, I know it's a old adage what coaches say, but truly I think there's not a lot of talent differential between the two teams. So got to take care of the football, got to tackle well, those kinds of things.
Any players in particular for them that you're concerned about?
They're a lot like us. They've got some good players that you could probably pick out, but when you watch them, they do a lot of things by committee. There'll be a couple different guys in at running back. They throw it to a couple different guys. They're a big power counter team. Defensively, it's not one guy making all the tackles. It's team defense. So there's not one guy, at least right now, that I feel like we stop this one player and we win. I think it's two good teams with maybe no guys going to Georgia per se that we have to stop.
I think that we played a very physical and dominant game, especially up front on offense and defense. I think that our backs really took it to in their hands to punch to that line and really just take it around and just score them touchdowns, get them yards we needed from the first downs and everything we needed. So I think we played physical. I think we played hard, and I think that we went up there and we did what we needed to do to get that victory because all our seniors and everybody on the team really just wanted to play hard for each other, and that's what we went up in there and did.
Well, I know you guys wanted to go further than you have before, and now you got a chance to do that. Second round on the road, not too far away, up in Augusta against Harlem. How are you guys feeling, and what do you expect?
We are pumped up and just ready to go up there and play ball. We're really just looking forward and so thankful for the opportunity to go up there and play again. We know that every week is on borrowed time from here on, so we just really looking forward to the opportunity to travel up to Augusta and play Harlem. I think it's going to be a very physical game. We're going to just take it into account again that we just need to be physical. We need to run the ball hard. We need to be excellent in our protection and just set the edge, play ball how we usually do.
I think we ran the ball very well, and I'm very appreciative for Coach Zito trusting me to run the ball as well as Quentin and Jaden. And I just thank the O-line for doing their job, making mine a lot easier.
I know you guys had a goal of trying to go further, make it to at least the second round. You're in the second round. You want to make it past them as well. What do you see about Harlem, and how are you feeling going in Friday?
I feel confident against whoever we are going against. Our coaches are going to teach us to do what we need to do to come home with a win, and our defense is going to do well against anybody. I really believe that.
The Bulloch Academy segment is brought to you in part thanks to Floors Outlet of Statesboro, located on Northside Drive. Come by and visit Mo for all your floor covering needs.
This is Paul Newman, Statesboro Real Estate. I have 3 kids that attend here. I'm a proud sponsor of Bulloch Academy Athletics and the #1 ranked Gator football team. Go Gators.
Well, a huge victory for the Bulloch Academy Gators this past Friday night at Gator Alley as they were able to close their seniors out with a big victory, sending them into the state championship game with a 20-14 victory over Brookstone. Got a little tight late in the game. Let's send you out for some of the highlights from that one. Bulloch Academy in the state semifinals at Gator Alley, hosting Brookstone, looking for some revenge from last year's defeat, and the defense coming to play. They'd shut down the Brookstone pass game. Parker Chance in on the hit. But the Gator offense unable to move the ball in the first quarter, and we go to the second quarter with no score. In the second, it's Parker Chance. This time coming through with the interception. The Gator offense unable to capitalize. They go for it on 4th down and are unable to come up with it. The ball's loose. Brookstone takes over. But the defense continues to shut the Cougars down. Jack Lanier with the stop here for a loss. And then the offense finally comes through with a big play. Sam Hubbard hits Shamar Jenkins for a first down. And then it's Hubbard scrambling, keeps it himself, taking off, showing his speed. He gets his head turned around with a face mask, but continues to run ahead. This would set up deep, and Shamar Jenkins starts the scoring with the 2-yard touchdown, and the Gators open up a 7-0 lead. Brookstone trying to get points on the board before the half, but this 48-yard field goal has the distance but is wide left, and we go to the half with the Gators leading 7-0. In the second half, Bulloch Academy's defense continues their domination. Joshua Mager with the hit, and then this one, the ball is tipped, and yes, once again, that's Parker Chance coming up with the interception, and this time the Bulloch Academy offense takes advantage. Hubbard goes up top to Billy Kreider all alone, and Kreider showing some funky chicken dance here. 13-0 Bulloch Academy. In the fourth, Braylon Cone with the sack on Broughton Branch. Brookstone getting to the 20, but pressure here. The ball comes loose. Jack Lanier, Johnny on the spot with the recovery. Brookstone gets the ball back again with just over 5 minutes to go, and a great leaping interception at midfield by Ike Hubbard. The Bulloch Academy offense trying to put this one away. Sophomore B.J. Smart in for an injured Danye Garvin. He breaks free. Nearly gets in. He's tackled just shy of the goal line. And then for the final points for the Gators, Sam Hubbard will dive to the pylon. It's 20-0. Bulloch Academy. Things get a little interesting with about 3 minutes left. Brookstone scores. They get the onside kick. Then Branch finds Jakeith Tolbert, who bounces off a couple tackles, goes in for the touchdown to make it 20-14, but that's as close as things would get. The Gators run out the clock, and they're heading to the state championship at Paulson Stadium next Saturday, winning 20-14 the final. This segment sponsored in part by Total Tire of Statesboro, located at 2703 Northside Drive, featuring friendly, courteous staff. Come see them today for all your automotive needs, featuring alignments, suspension, brakes, tires, and more. So with the victory over Brookstone, the Bulloch Academy Gators in the state championship for the first time since they won it all back in 1997. They'll be taking on First Presbyterian Day. The FPD comes into this game with a record of 11-1. The Gators 11-0. We had a chance to talk with head coach Aaron Phillips and a couple of his seniors about the big matchup and a chance at a state championship.
We obviously, outside of the walls of our program, we didn't go advertising, one of our goals, but our goal was to start in Paulson and stop in Paulson. Kind of start there and finish there. We're the only team in the state that had that opportunity, so to be back there, to play there again, it's all kind of surreal, the Ert Russell Classic, that's, Coach Russell, running what we run offensively is kind of, special and unique. And then now to be able to say that, in our hometown, we get to play in our home stadium, for the, no one else can do that. That's kind of special. I think our guys are, they're pretty jacked up about that.
Got a tough team across the field from you, FPD. What do you expect? What do you think you got to do Friday to pull off a win?
Man, we just got to play a lot harder than we did at times Friday. I thought, we went through the motions at times a little bit, and we were, and a lot of that's nerves. A lot of that is a lot of the guys, they hadn't been in this situation. We were in this situation last year. 13 of those seniors are gone. So these 14 guys that we have now that are seniors, along with our other players, they hadn't been the guys that were under the lights a lot in those big situations. So handling some of that, I think will be a big key Friday or Saturday night. FPD, they're playing for this the second year in a row. They're defending state champions. They got a great staff over there. Coach Collier does a great job, and those kids get after it. They're going to be the best team, obviously the best team we've played all year, and they're not going to wow you with size and Division I athletes or anything like that. But they got a bunch of dudes who believe in what they do, and they get after it.
Nobody on your team's ever been in a state championship. In fact, it's been 1997 since Bulloch Academy played for a state championship. How do you keep them on a level keel best you can? Yeah,
with this game here last Friday night, I think a lot of the nerve stuff was due to who it was. It's Brookstone, the taste we had last year after not putting our best foot forward, having every break go against us, to turn around this year, and we had a lot of breaks go for us with the turnovers. Now we talked about it all week, creating our own luck, and we did that defensively last week. This week, obviously, you have to. We're going to practice the same. We're going to do the same things. It's the next opponent on the schedule. Is kind of what we've said all year long, and try to let these guys enjoy it. But at the end of the day, it's a football game, and that's how we got to treat it. If we make it any bigger than that, then it could get too big for us, and we kind of some of those nerves could start creeping in and do some uncharacteristic things out there that could hurt us. But I think with it being an opponent that none of our kids have ever played FPD in anything, and FPD's kids have never played us. So there's no familiar faces or coaching staffs. It's all brand new, and I think that's kind of to the benefit of us a little bit with what we do, so I think our kids will probably be a little more calm and relaxed this week than they were last week.
It's kind of it feels a little unreal because it's what you dream about when you're a little kid, but we just got to move past that and focus on what's ahead of us.
Speaking of what's ahead of you, what do you expect?
They're a really good football team. I've watched them on film so far, and they're always in the right spot. They're very fast, which we're physical, but they're very, very fast.
So what do you feel like is going to be the key Friday?
Doing what we're supposed to do, responsibility. Don't turn the ball over, be where you're supposed to be, block the guy you're supposed to block and fill gaps.
It felt like a fever dream. Play there at Paulson, then last game of the season is going to be at Paulson. It felt like God put us in a position where we could do it, and we're going to be able to execute it.
FPD, what kind of problems do they present to you guys, and what do you think you have to do to win?
They're just a well put together team. They're a bunch of kids who's going to fight to the very end, but I think we're the same, and I think we're just going to fight, and it's going to be a good game. It starts by just installing a good game plan and really hunkering down and focusing on what you're supposed to do, and then that first play out there, you just got to go 100% and give it all you got and just let it go from there.
And before we go, Southeast Bulloch flag football team, congratulations to them on winning the area championship. Unfortunately, after that game, they were beaten 7-0 by Calvary. It was not an area matchup. It was just an extra game. But their win streak comes to a close after 77 victories and the first shutout they've experienced as a flag football team. They'll be off for about 2 weeks before they start the state playoffs. They will be hosting in the first round of the state playoffs. We'll bring you some previews from that in a couple of weeks. But for now, that'll wrap things up. We thank you for joining us and hope to see you again next week.